Hello everyone, I hope you guys are all having a fabulous Monday. Today I'm coming at you with our weekly Minks Monday Q&A. Before we get started, let me share the bag that I'm currently rocking, and that is the Chanel wallet on chain in the black caviar leather and the gold hardware. Alright, so grab your coffee, grab your tea, let's start your workout, let's go to work, let's do your laundry, whatever it is that you do, come join me. We have some awesome topics to cover today. Starting with the first question from Tatiana925. Do you know why Louis Vuitton mixes metals on some of their bags, such as the canvas Speedy bandolier, i.e. the metal on the strap is shiny as well as the lock, but the rest of the bag, it's matte? Don't get me wrong, I will always love this style, but I do feel like it cheapens the bag a bit. Reason I bring this up is because I have a 2012 Speedy Bandolier 30 that I love, but recently I had someone question its authenticity. Since it's an older model and along with the mixed metals, I guess I kind of see their reasoning a little bit, but I will still rock it with pride since I know it's 1000% authentic, but was still wondering about the metals. The Speedy Empreinte, however, is all shiny metals. I understand the canvas ones are cheaper, but it's still a $1,300 bag. I feel like it would look more luxurious if it was all shiny metal. What are your thoughts? This is an interesting question, and no one was able to tell me exactly why they do have mixed metals when it comes to the Speedy Bandolier in the canvas version in comparison to the Empreinte version. I did speak to a couple different sales associates, and I wrote down what they said so I can share that with you guys. I even spoke to another young lady where she had no clue, and we were just kind of throwing around theories as to maybe why they decided to do that, but no one specifically knew the answer as to why they have mixed metals. But before we get any further, let me give you guys a better visual of what Tatiana is talking about. So here is a Speedy 25 bandolier in the monogram canvas. And on the zippers here, I don't actually use the lock on this bag, but on the zippers, you can see that the hardware is a little bit more muted. It's definitely a lot more matte. It almost has a greenish champagne gold type of hardware look to it in comparison to part of the strap. There's a part of the strap that has very, very bright, bright gold hardware. It's very shiny. So you have this very shiny, very bright, beautiful hardware, but on another part of the strap, it also has that muted matte type of hardware. So you have two different types of hardware going on, versus on the Empreinte version, it's all just the shiny type of hardware. So the first sales associate that I spoke with, they thought I was crazy. They said, no, there's no discrepancy. It's all the same. Another one said that it depends on the kind of parts that they have at the warehouse. One of them said that if they have all shiny parts, then they use all shiny parts on the bag. If it's all matte parts, then they use all matte parts. And to that, I had just mentioned, I said, well, when you go into the boutique, every single Speedy bandolier in the canvas version has the matte parts in the exact same spot in comparison to the Empreinte version or anything like that. I've never really seen a bandolier, you know, as of late that has all shiny hardware that is the canvas. So that really didn't pan out too well. And another sales associate said that okay, so they said if they have shiny, they use shiny. If they have matte, they use matte. Everything's made by hand. You know, they gave me that answer. And the one lady that I was talking about where we were kind of throwing around ideas, I told her, I said, the only thing that I can think of when it comes to the canvas version, which doesn't really make sense, but I said, is it possible that the reason why it does have the matte hardware on some parts, like here on this side as well as the top and on other parts of the strap, is because that's maybe a little bit more hard wearing and maybe it will wear a little bit better? And they said that the hardware is not more durable, but better wearing. So I thought it was the same thing, but she actually said that the matte hardware doesn't show scuffs as much and it doesn't wear as badly as the other one, you know, in a sense making it more durable, but they said it doesn't make it more durable. So it's all up in the air. You can clearly see that there is a difference. Like I said, I had a feeling that maybe they're trying to make it a little bit more durable just because when you look on the pre-loved market, when it comes to the Speedies in specific, the zipper pulls here are always chipping. They have a lot of chip wear when it comes to their hardware. So I think maybe they ended up changing they maybe put a different coating on it, or maybe they used it altogether different type of metal, so that way it makes it a lot more durable. But at the same time, the fact that the Empreinte version, that's a little bit more expensive, has all shiny hardware, does that mean that that hardware is not going to wear as well, considering the price point that the Empreintes have in comparison to the canvas version, you know? I personally don't feel that it necessarily cheapens the bag. I like the fact that this won't wear as easily, you know? So I think that's a positive thing, because like I said before, when you look at the pre-loved market, a lot of those older bags have a lot of chips, and they just they tarnish very, very easily. So if that's if they end up making a more durable hardware, I think that's a step in the right direction. So that way you don't have to worry that it's going to wear very, very quickly or very easily or anything like that. So unfortunately, I don't have a specific answer for you, but I would love to hear what you guys have to say on this topic on the comment section down below. All right, next question from Ingrid Ling. I was curious about your different small leather goods for putting cards in. Does your Louis Vuitton Empreinte Clay, Hermes Calvi, Chanel O pouch, and O card holder fit the most cards? I need to find something small but still fits a bunch of cards in, since I generally carry about 10 to 15 loyalty cards / gift cards, in addition to the 2 to 3 credit cards and my driver's license. I did bring out all 4 of them, so we have even more eye candy. So here I have the Hermes Calvi, the Louis Vuitton Empreinte Clay, the Chanel O zip coin purse, and the Chanel O pouch. Personally, I think that all 4 of these would end up working perfectly with the 10 to 15 loyalty cards / gift cards, and your credit cards, and your driver's license, and some cash. It's all a matter of, you know, which one you necessarily want to go for. And they are a little bit different in the sense that, for example, the Chanel O pouch, even though it is slender and you can get away with carrying up to 30 cards no problem, it is a little bit taller than the other ones. So if you're looking to really, really maximize your space inside of a smaller handbag, this might not necessarily be the way to go, but I do like the fact that you have that zippered closure, so you have a little bit more security. So that does it for the O pouch. The Hermes Calvi, that's actually what I'm using right now, and at the moment I actually have 30 cards in here. So it can get somewhat bulky, as you can see, but I haven't had an issue with this one kind of popping up on its own. And the more and more that I fit in here, sometimes it can get bulkier inside of the smaller handbags. But regardless, like I said, right now I have 30 of them in here. No problem. I'm still able to close it up. And to be honest, I can get away with fitting maybe a little bit more in there. That's kind of like pushing it a little too far, but I haven't had any problems with any corner wear or anything like that. So this one is really, really awesome. When it comes to the Empreinte Clay, this one also fits easily 20 cards, no problem. You also have that snap button closure, so you have a little bit of added security, and you also have this zippered closure on the back that you can use for cash if you wanted to, but this one is also a little bit taller. So if it's a matter of really, really, really maximizing your space, this one is great, but it can get a little bit bulky, especially if you still have the chain inside. The chain inside really takes away from how much you carry in here, and as many of you know, I ended up taking off the chain completely, which makes it a lot easier for me to be able to carry those 20 to 30 cards no problem. Now when it comes to the Chanel O zip coin purse, this is my my all-time favorite, you know, because you do have the zippered closure, so it's a little bit more secure. You also have those 3 compartments that you can, you know, break up your things if you wanted to. So you can have your loyalty cards in one slot, your credit cards in another, maybe some cash in here. You do have to fold the cash multiple times, like I talked about in last week's video. But personally, I think out of the 4 of them, I love them all, and I definitely use them all as much as I possibly can. But I think I'd have to say it's gonna have to be this guy, just because it is so small and I can still get away with the compartments that it has, and it also has that zippered closure. So as you can see, this guy's a little bit taller, and again with the chain in there, it takes away from how much you can carry. You also have this guy that just has that open flap, but I mean, it's almost as bulky. Actually, it's a little bit bulkier than the Chanel O zip coin purse, as you can see there. And then this guy, it does fit all of those. It has the security of the zipper, but it's just a lot taller. So it's a matter of what it is that you want to go for. I think all 4 of them are great, but out of the ones to choose, personally for me, It has to be this guy just because, yeah, I definitely get away with using that one the most when it comes to my smaller handbags. Next question from It's Never Full. I have an Emily wallet in mono and hot pink that I love. The pink button is a little dirty and I have managed to scrape the pink leather with a brush, leaving it white at the side. I have no issues as it's my everyday wallet with perfect glazing. Wondered if you or any subbies know what's under the pink leather covering. Will it reveal a gold button eventually? Great question. I did bring out my Josephine wallet, so we have a little bit more eye candy, especially since the Josephine wallet is very similar to the Emily wallet. They both have the leather button here. And I did talk to a couple different sales associates just to verify, but yes, I am happy to say it does have brass underneath this leather. I think that's pretty awesome. I actually consider it a blessing in disguise, because if it's a wallet that you use all the time, just knowing that that wear is always going to be there, you know. So if you're constantly getting the leather repaired, even as careful as you can be, it's still going to continue to happen. So eventually you're going to hit that brass, and with that brass you might have scratches, you might have tarnish wear, but it's not going to be as expensive as getting it repaired with the leather button every single time. You know what I mean? At least I see it that way. So the fact that, yeah, you have the pink or you have the red in my example, if I have the red and if eventually it ends up peeling or ends up, you know, completely coming off, then I know that I have the gold underneath. I'm okay with that. I'm okay with that because you still have a little bit of the red around the brass button, but I know that the brass is going to wear a lot better than the leather will. So I was so excited when I called and I asked, and you know, one of the sales associates was like, I have no idea, let me double check. And then I called a few other times. Like I said, I always like to make sure before I come on here, but I always ask you guys to get into contact with your sales associate so you have further peace of mind with this. But yeah, so brass is underneath that leather, which I am all about. So that makes me very happy. I think it makes it even easier to use that way if it does happen. I mean, at least I'm okay with it, but to each their own. So leather or brass underneath this leather button. But fantastic question, and hopefully I was able to help. Next question from Lynn Rowe. I just purchased my Holy Grail bag, the Speedy Bandolier 25 in Empreinte leather from the Champs-Élysées store in Paris. I'm wondering if I should get an organizer to help maintain its shape. I just watched your Samorga 30-day review, and I am also worried about there being a crease on the bag from the top of the organizer. Should I skip the organizer and just get the base shaper? Well, first and foremost, major congratulations on your Holy Grail, and the fact that you were able to get it at the Champs-Élysées store in Paris is awesome, so major congrats. Okay, so when it comes to the Speedy 25 Bandolier, should you skip the organizer and just get the base shaper? I think it's all a matter of personal preference, to be completely honest, because as I said in that review, I love the fact that it's able to help it shape, especially when it comes to the Speedy, because I know a lot of people aren't a fan of the sag that this one gets when you have a lot of items inside. Personally, that's one of the details that I like about it, so the Speedy sag definitely works for me. But when it comes to the 25 in specific, I'm not too crazy about the organizer in it. And the only reason I say that is because even though the opening has definitely relaxed since I got the Speedy, it's still somewhat of a tight fit. So I feel that if you're trying to fit a little bit more in there, when you have the organizer in there, it somewhat takes away from being able to carry a little bit more. And that's just, like I said, that's all a matter of personal preference, because you guys know me. I'm always trying to fit as much as I possibly can inside of my handbags, especially when it comes to the Speedy. So I found that I wasn't able to carry as much, and as I said in that video, and as you mentioned, that crease kind of bothered me, because I knew that over time, the more and more that I used it, that I would end up seeing that crease a little too much, and that was just definitely kind of a detail that I didn't want to have on this bag. So I decided against using the organizer in the 25. But when it comes to the 30, I really like it in the 30 because you still have a little bit of space, and it doesn't have as small of an opening as the 25 does. And when it comes to organizers in general, even though I do like it in the 30 when it comes to Speedies, I mostly prefer it in totes. I love the way that it looks in totes, because for me, I'm the type of person that whenever I carry my never Neverfull or my Longchamp or even my Deauville, as OCD as I sometimes am, I just start throwing everything in there. I have receipts everywhere and I feel like it's just a mess inside of my bag. But when I have the organizer, not only does it help it maintain its shape, I don't necessarily have to worry about the opening being too restricting or just kind of causing it to have a crease. It's a little bit more open. I'm still able to see my items at a glance. It's just not as restricting as it is when it comes to a top zip type of closure bag that the Speedy is. So I do like it in the 30. I definitely don't use it on the 25, even though I do appreciate it. It's just not necessarily for me. I want to be able to just maximize my space as much as I possibly can whenever it comes to this bag. So I opted to not use it in here. But when it comes to totes, I am all about using the organizer in all of my totes. I actually think that almost all of my Neverfulls, my Deauvilles, every one of those bags has an organizer, but when it comes to these ones, that's where I don't. So in my personal opinion, I would go for a base shaper if you still want it to maintain its shape a little bit while still being able to carry a lot more items inside. So that's what I would end up doing, going for the base shaper versus the organizer. But whichever one you do, it's all a matter of how much it is that you want to carry in there. So fantastic question, and hopefully I was able to answer it. Next question from Susan M. If you were not in a position to buy luxury handbags, which contemporary designer brands, Coach, Michael Kors, etc., would you say are second best in quality and design? Could you show a few bags that you really like? Great question, and absolutely, I will include pictures of some of the ones that that definitely have caught my eye over the years at the end of this question. But when it comes to contemporary designers, there's one in specific. Actually, there's two in specific that will always have a special place in my heart. So that could, you know, that could be an added reason to it. But in general, I think that they have really great quality. The first one is Coach. Coach will always be my first love, and when it comes to leather, I think that they have incredible leather. It wears very, very nicely for long periods of time, and they also have great price points when it comes to their handbags. There were a few years back when they were introducing new designs to their lineup that I was kind of like, wait, what? But now more and more they're adding different designs that have a lot of versatility to them, and they also have that beautiful leather that they're known for. So Coach definitely is one of them. Another one is Marc Jacobs, or Marc by Marc Jacobs. That's the other one that has my heart, just because I love the details of their bags. I love the quality of their leather, and they also have phenomenal price points. And from what I used to have in my collection way back when it came to Marc Jacobs, the leather, the hardware, everything, it never had any tarnish. So that to me is a major win. So those two. Another one, there's also two brands that I've never owned as far as handbags go, but I've always been very intrigued by them. A lot of people talk very highly about them for the quality and their details as well. The first one is Rebecca Minkoff. Now I know that Rebecca Minkoff has a lot of bags that are very similar to the luxury brands as far as some of the styles go, but they add their own spin to them. But I really like the hardware that they use. That's the one that's the detail that always just ends up attracting me to Rebecca Minkoff in general. So I love their hardware. And the other one is Tory Burch. Now I've never had a Tory Burch handbag, but they have a you guys will see it in the pictures in a minute, but they have like this crossbody bag. It's a very simple bag, but their leather is incredible. I mean, their shoes wear fantastic. I can only imagine how their handbags wear. So yeah, those four brands are the ones that I've always been intrigued by. Two of them I've already had, but I think I might end up going for that Tory Burch one just because I think it would be a really, really fun summer handbag, especially, you know, if I don't want too big of a bag or anything like that. I think it'd be great. Plus, it's a little bit more versatile. So those four are the ones that I like, but I would love to know what are some of the contemporary brands that you guys like. If you have any suggestions, let me know in the comment section down below, or something that I can take a look at. But I will include those pictures of those bags right now. Next question from Handbag Crunch. I recently purchased an item from the Louis Vuitton Summer Trunks collection. I hated this collection when it first released. However, after some time, I found myself really wanting a few pieces. Have you ever hated a bag / small leather good and later found yourself loving it? Yes, there is one bag in specific that stands out more than any other bag, and I do have it in my collection now. And I would have to say that hate is kind of an understatement when it came to it first launching. And it is this bad boy. I'm sure a lot of you already knew that it was going to be the Speedy Bandolier, but I remember vividly when this first got released, and I was just sitting there like, wait, what? What? You're making a spin on a classic? That's ridiculous. I can't believe it. Why would you want crossbody? Why don't you want this? Why don't you want that? Like, I was full on like kicking and screaming, you know? So it's an understatement as to how not big of a fan I was, or how I wasn't a fan of this bag in general when it first came out. We talked about it a million times on Minks Monday. I was always just like, it's not for me. It's not for me. I always appreciate the classics a lot more. You know, it's not a detail that I prefer when it comes to using it crossbody, just because I'm not a crossbody fan. You name it. I feel like the list is endless when it came to things I didn't like about this bag. Even though I didn't like it for myself, I always appreciated what it brought to the table. You know, that's why I can always look at the positives when it comes to a handbag in general, even if it's not necessarily something for me. But the more and more we talked about it, the more and more I researched it, the more I was just like, it's not that bad. It's kind of cool, I guess, blah, blah, blah. And then it took on a form of its own. It made it onto the wish list. I will never forget how some of you on my Instagram were like, wait, what? You hate this bag, you hate this bag, and you know, all these things. But I'm happy to say, and I've told you before, I will always admit when I'm wrong. And I was 100% wrong about why I didn't like this bag, because everything that I appreciated about it before, even though it wasn't for me, I think it's awesome. The fact that you're hands-free, I mean, hands-free when you're shopping, you don't have to worry about carrying the bag and, you know, and then having the crook of your arm just kind of get all like heavy or anything like that. That's awesome. So, yeah, I absolutely love this handbag, even though it wasn't really what I was looking for in the beginning. But I will admit it, I was wrong. It works out for me and my lifestyle now, and yeah. But I would love to know if there's a bag that you guys did not like. I mean, hated, or you were just like, ugh, this is not going in my collection. And maybe if you have it now, I would love to know in the comment section down below. But fantastic question, and hopefully I was able to answer it. All right, next one from the N1R1. I'm a diehard Speedy Bandolier fan. I'm obsessed with crossbody bags. I know you prefer the classics and the 30 and have the trifecta, but I know you have been loving your Speedy 25 Bandolier as well. I feel like this week it's definitely spotlight on the Speedy. Would you consider getting the Speedy 25 Bandolier in another canvas, possibly a trifecta again? I have the Speedy B in each size, and I really want a trifecta for a specific size, but I can't decide between the 25 Bandolier or the 30 Bandolier. Do you have any advice? Okay, so great question. I do definitely, even though I'm madly in love with this bag, I do prefer the classic in general. Okay, so would I consider getting the 25 Bandolier in another canvas print? I don't think so, and I say that at the moment because we all know how the crazy sometimes sets in. I might change my mind next week, but at the moment, I don't foresee myself getting the 25 in another canvas print. More specifically, the Damier Ben, only because every time I've gone to try it out at the boutique, I love the fact that it's carefree. But whenever I go to use it crossbody, it always ends up digging into my chest, and I find it to be a little too uncomfortable just because it does have that treated leather. So unfortunately, that doesn't really work out for me right now. And when it comes to the Damier Azur, I think it is gorgeous. You guys know how I feel about Damier Azur in general, but when it comes to using this bag crossbody, I have it on one specific setting because I really like how it, where it lays on me as far as it's right at my hip. It's perfect. And whenever I set something, you know, when it has an adjustable strap, I don't really mess with it. I leave it just as it is. And because of where I end up having it on my body, I know that if I had the 25 in the Damier Azur, with as much denim as I wear and as much black as I wear, I will immediately have color transfer. And that's something that I just don't necessarily want to go for. That's why I really like the 30, because I kind of have it off to the side. But just because of where I end up adjusting the strap to use it crossbody. I know that I can make the strap shorter and use it on my shoulder, but when it comes to the 25 in general, I like to use it crossbody, and very, very rarely will I use it on my shoulder. Other times I'll take off the strap and use it on my hand, but as of right now, I only see myself just having the 25 and the monogram. But when it comes to the 25 or the 30 bandolier, it's really a matter of personal preference. I've always kind of leaned more towards the 25 bandolier because of its size. I feel that the 30 is just a little too bulbous whenever I personally go to use it. It ends up sticking off a little too much off of my body, whereas the 25 I still feel it fits quite a bit, and it doesn't protrude off my body as much. So that's really the main reason. I don't think that it doesn't fit that much more in order for me to go for the 30 over the 25, but like I said, it's all a matter of personal preference. If you see yourself carrying a lot more with you, and you know, you don't mind it kind of just sticking out a little too much, then I would go for the 30. But if it's a matter of you carrying the same amount of items that you carry in your 25 now, then I would end up going for that one. But yeah, so I don't foresee myself getting another bandolier anytime soon. But fantastic question, and hopefully I was able to answer it. All right, and the last question from Carrie X. Have you ever encountered a situation where a bag makes your heart sing, but at the same time fully admitted it was kind of ugly, or you knew it was crazy? I feel that way about the Gucci Marmont Animal Studs bag. I don't know if I'd hate it down the road. There is one bag, or there is one collection that I always loved. Every single solitary time that I saw it when I was out and about, especially when it had that gorgeous patina, my eyes would light up. But I knew in my heart of hearts that once I had it, I would never use it, and I was just like, this isn't for me. And I'm talking about the Louis Vuitton graffiti line. I loved the graffiti line when it first came out. They had those bright colors. You know, it was up against the monogram, and then as I said before, when you have that beautiful honey golden patina, I think that it was gorgeous, but at the same time, I was just like, I don't know. It's got way too much going on. It makes it look super, super busy. And you guys know I'm not really one to go for a busy print. I tend to go for the more simple type of designs. But that line I loved, and I don't regret not getting it at any point in time, because I knew, as I said before, I knew it would just sit there. It would just be like, oh, I'm never gonna use it, it's too beautiful. But I remember showing it to Robert, and he was just like, what is that? I'm like, first of all, don't knock it, because it's Louis Vuitton, all right? You know, don't talk bad about them. But it wasn't necessarily for me. But you know, at the end of the day, even if it's something that might be a little crazy, or it might be a little out of the norm, if you think that you're going to enjoy it, if you think that you're going to use it, then I say go for it, you know? But if you foresee yourself maybe getting it and just being excited about the colors but having it sit there, then maybe just wait, maybe wait a little bit before you decide to add it to your collection. But fantastic question, and hopefully I was able to help. All right, you guys, so that does it for Minks Monday Q&A. I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope I was able to help. You had some amazing questions this week. You will see me one more time this week. Like I said, July is going to be very, very crazy. So you won't see me as much. I'm still going to try my hardest to get as many videos as I possibly can, but just know that in the future. But thank you guys so much for watching. If you enjoyed it, make sure and give it a thumbs up. If you haven't already and you would like to, please subscribe to my YouTube channel by clicking on the red button down below and hitting that bell so you're notified when I upload videos, which is anywhere from 2 to 3 times a week. And I'll see you guys later. And as always, make it a fabulous day or not, the choice is yours. Have a great day.